All right, so can you able to see my screen?
Listen,
Okay, let me log in. Yeah, that's okay. Today we'll talk about web server. So this is not a Linux topic, but it will be very much useful, and it will be used by I think almost everyone. Let me tell you why and what is it. Imagine, let's say, now just see, look at it, how this page is opening. Or just imagine, let's say, click on anything, let's say YouTube, something. You're seeing something, right? How this is working, how this is loading all these pages, whatever it is. It's not just YouTube. Take any page, how they are opening, how this Google Meet let's say opened here. Usually, developer or there will be someone who writes the code or the logic, everything. There will be front end, back end, blah blah something. So they'll write the code and we can see this, right? So this is generally what we know everyone. Okay, so but you can you simply write a code and it works. It's not like that. There is something else also. We need to run this code somewhere. We don't usually say it as run. We need to deploy it or we need to host it somewhere. Then only we can able to access. Let's say, let me log in here. I'll show you. Come on. So I'm logging into this server. Yes, and I'm writing the code. That's HTML something. I test something, whatever it is. So now the code is ready. But how to access this? No, the code, I mean, whatever this is. This is HTML code, sample code. Let's say I have Java code. I mean, this is not Java code, but just as giving you an example. So now I have the code in my laptop, in this server, whatever it is. I want to access it. That's what or in a big picture, right? When what you do, you develop an application, test it, build it, whatever you do, and you release it so that people can use it. Let's say Facebook is there or YouTube or something. They wrote the code for all these applications, and they'll host it somewhere so that we can use it. That's what, right? So if you simply they wrote the code and they store it somewhere, we can't access it, right? So they have to host it, they have to deploy it somewhere. Then only we can able to use it. Otherwise, not. We can't use it. Where they deploy? I mean, where they deploy, how they deploy. There are multiple things which they use to deploy. So forget about how they deploy. That will come under DevOps. But today we'll see where they deploy. So where they deploy is called web servers. So the web server, let me write it. So these web servers are the ones they use and they deploy it. There are two web servers. I mean, there are three or four, but the most famous ones everybody uses. Two, Apache and Unix. This Apache had another name also called HTTPD. So these two web servers are the most famous ones. You have to use any of it to deploy your application. That's common. You have to use this. So today we'll talk about Apache, the first one. Tomorrow we'll see another one. So As I told you, right, every website, it will be running inside a computer. It means any machine, any server. And inside that, there will be a web server which runs this code, this website. This is called web server. So web servers are on always connected to internet and they deliver the application. I mean, whatever we deploy, we told it to run, it will run it. So you can access it. Let's say I have a page, this one, some index.html. Let me open this. Hi test something is the right. This is my code. Let's say I told web server to run this. So when you what will happen? It will run this, and you can see hi test something that code. You can see whatever is present. I mean, so how you access it? How you are accessing any application by a domain name, right? This is the domain name. AWS Amazon AWS.amazon.com is the domain name. Meet.google.com is the domain name. Whatever comes under slash it's subdomain, but this is the domain name. Or IP address. If you know the Google IP address, you can try it. But Google does not have maybe static IP address. They have dynamic IP address. That's okay. So domain name usually we access. Why we use domain name? Why can't we just simply use IP? There are a couple of things. One thing, IPs are not static. We can set a static IP, but if you have a huge infrastructure, we can set that many number of IPs, which not a good practice. Another thing, which is easier to remember, name or number. I believe name. See, you remember me by my name, or do you remember me by my number, my mobile number or something? No, right? By name, because it's easy to remember, right? It's easy to access, easy to mm, remember it, since you use a number of applications. So that's why the domain name. So I have IP called 10.10 dot something. Let's say this IP is 3.250 something. We can't remember this. So that's why I'll create a domain name. Let's say trustagile.com. And I'll link the domain name to this IP address. So then I can able to access with the website. That will I'll tell you that's a different class. But for now, let's see. So now we can able to access it as of now by IP address because we don't have a domain name. And another thing. So this web server, sorry, this web server have a protocol. It uses a protocol to make sure the application is accessible for us. Similar way, this this protocol will have a port number. If you see SSH is a protocol, so it's have a port number. NFS it's a protocol. It's have a port number. It's I mean obviously any other service we have discussed similar to that. There's so many things. Similar HTTP, sorry, this Apache also have port number called 80 and 443. I'll tell you what are these. Why there are two? Only one is required, right? So it uses two protocols. As this Apache, HTTPD, both are same. I mean, remember again, Apache. These both are same. There is no difference. Okay, just the package names are different. That's it. The names are different in Ubuntu. HTTPD we use in CentOS and all, Red Hat and all. Apache we use in Ubuntu. That's it. There is no other difference. Both are same. So you generally you see it right here. Or let's say here only. See, I think you know all these. What is HTTPS? To keep it simple, there are two protocols, HTTP and HTTPS. Every web server have this. I mean, whatever I mentioned, two web servers. HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. What does that mean is, when you type google.com, it will go to server wherever it's hosted, right? I mean, the Google code is hosted, and it will give the response back. How it's getting through this HTTP protocol only. This HTTP protocol is running the application, and it is sending you the page, whatever it's they have deployed, they are running there. And this what is HTTP? Yes, secure. The last S is secure. So let's say, mm, how to say as an example. Imagine there is a box. In the box, you have kept your your money or gold or something. Someone saw it. Someone saw that a box, but there is no lock, right? You didn't lock it. Just a box. You kept everything, your valuables and your money and gold in the box, but you didn't lock it. You just closed the box, the lid. That's it. You thought, okay, it's safe, but someone saw that there is no lock, so they stole it. It's as simple, right? I mean, there is no security, nothing. Now imagine same scenario. You have a box and you have most secure lock. If bought the lock from the shop, which is secure one, very bigger maybe, and you lock the box. Now thief, whatever who are there, is still trying to open the lock, but it's secure, so he can't able to open it. So you tried for a couple of hours and you left. So whatever valuables in the box is safe, right? Correct? The same example here, HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTP versus HTTPS. This is the example I told. So here there is no encryption. Let me just. Here there is encryption. So what's happening is now request comes. Let me open Paint. Let's say this is your server. And let me write it. Server box where our application is running. Now the request came to this server. In between, HTTP protocol is there. So if and let's say as of now I'm using HTTP only. I'm the hacker. Now the connection is passing, right? I can able to hack this connection and access your server, get your data and blackmail you later. Whatever it's after. So I can do that with HTTP because it's a plain text protocol. What does it mean is you can see if you let's say there is a connection and you can simply hack it, you can see what's they're sending, what type of data they're transferring, what is the source, what is the destination. I mean, source is your IP address, your details, destination is server details, everything they can able to see. But if you use HTTPS, it's secure. This makes it secure. This whole connection secure. So that's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. If you use every website uses HTTPS only. They don't use HTTP because without HTTPS it's not secure. Any website. You can say website it will be there. How to find? See, you can say another website, whatever it is. I don't remember any other websites now. But yeah, medium.com. See, it's there. HTTPS. Let's say another one. Stack Overflow. Most commonly you see HTTPS. See, any website will use HTTPS because they want to make it secure. That's why. In our case also we'll do the same. But yeah, we'll see. We'll try that. No problem. So now, hmm, that's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. So here I told two protocols are there. So HTTPS uses 443 port number. HTTP uses 80 port number. That's why there are two. If you have HTTPS, you have to use 443 port number. If you don't have HTTPS, you are using HTTP, you can use 80. It's fine. Okay. Now, how to get this certificate? I mean, HTTPS. We have to get a certificate for this. For HTTPS, if you want to make it secure, you have to get a certificate for your website. How to get a certificate? First, you have to get a domain name. Without domain name, you can't get a certificate. Let's say you have IP address. Currently, we don't have a domain name, right? We just have IP address, so we can't get it. So, if someone have a domain name, let's say aws.amazon.com, they can get a certificate. Where? We have similar things like this one. I forgot what is the name. Domain GoDaddy. Sorry, GoDaddy. This is one of the official website where we can create our own domain names. We can host our website. I mean, in- so like any static ones will come later. So we can buy a domain names. AWS also will have something. So we can buy a domain names there. But for now, let's not buy. We can create our own. That we'll see tomorrow. But for today, we'll host our website using HTTP only. Let's forget about this for today. We'll host our website using HTTP. There's no encryption because we don't have a data block or something, right? It's simple. Now, let's see how to proceed. First, we have to install this web server. What is the, sorry, it got stuck. 1 minute. So the package name is different. I told you, right? If you are on, if you are on Red Hat, CentOS, I mean Fedora things, you have to use HTTP. This is the package name. If you are on Debian, I mean Ubuntu, any other things, the package name is Apache 2. So let's see where I am at and which I'm using. I don't remember. Yeah, I'm using Ubuntu. If you see, I just find out by the username. That's it. But I told you how to check it. There is a file slash etc slash sorry os release. So you will see I'm using Ubuntu 22. Same way everyone can use a different thing. So now I'm using Ubuntu means my package name is this one. If you're using CentOS, HTTP. So let's install this. How to install in Ubuntu apt? apt install Apache 2 -y. Yes. Oh, sudo. Sorry. Yes, it's installing. Just click OK. It's installed. Now after the install, we have to start the service. Systemctl. First we'll check the status. It's running. And I'll do this one. If you remember this is how we check your service. If your service is not running, systemctl start. And what is this systemctl enable? I told you, right? Even after rebooting a machine, if you want if you want the service to be running automatically, enable. So what it will do, it will start the service automatically after if server restarts. So it's running. Now how to access it? So how to access is using a domain name or IP address of the server. So we don't have a domain name, we have IP address. Let's simply open a new tab, paste the IP address. And what is the port number for us? We're using HTTP only, no encryption, right? It's a default port. I didn't change it. So let's use 80. Since it's a default port. So whenever you want to use a port number with a domain name or IP address, you have to use colon 80. It means it's a port number. Let's say if you didn't give this colon, it think as IP address only. You have to give the colon. Then It's an IP address. But where is it? It's the port is gone, right? We gave, see, let's try again. It's gone. Why? Why? Because 80 is the default port number. So it won't show you. If you're using HTTPS, 440 is the default port number. But if you see, there is no port number here in the URL. Why? Because they are the default ports, right? They won't show, they won't display. If you're using some different ports other than this, then it will show you. Let's try that. Let's see. So now it's working, right? I can try this. Also, HTTP slash slash. I think you know what are those. Sorry, I gave it wrong. So HTTP colon. I think you know. I'm I'm guessing you know that how to access the website. Don't say no. See, it's working. Obviously, it will say not secure because we don't have HTTPS. It's okay. And what is this? So much is there. This is the documentation. This is the default page. If you can see here, by default, Apache have something. So that is displaying to you, and you can able to like remove this and keep your code. Here only it told. This is a default welcome page used to test the correct operation of Apache 2 after installation on Ubuntu machines. It is based on the equivalent page of Debian from which Ubuntu package is derived. If you can read this page, it means Apache server is installed and working properly. You should replace this file var html index.html before continuing to operate your server. It means this is where the code is for this page. So you can delete this and you can use your own in order to host your website, it seems. Let's see those. Let's go to this path. This is where I told where WHTML. cd slash where WHTML. Yeah, there is index.html page. Cat something it will be so much is there. So we don't want it. Let's remove. We have our index page, right? We created it. Let's copy that. Look, I copied it. I copied to where WHTML. Now let's try. This is our HTML page. I copied to this path because it told the same thing. See, replace this file here. Now let's refresh. See, it came right. No magic, nothing. How this came? That we'll talk now. Apache or HTTPD have configuration files. So the default configuration file is slash etc slash Apache. This is the directory where every configuration files exist. If this is Ubuntu, let me write it. And the default file is etc slash Apache 2.conf. Sorry, spelling wrong. Config file, main config file, let's say. Hmm? What is the default port number? I think you know 80 for HTTP, 443 for HTTP. Yes. You can change these port numbers, but I'll tell you. So these are the main files. Got it? Now we have two more files also. Let's try that. There is something called, if you observe here, slash where WHTML. What is this path? Let's write it. This is called document root. What does it mean? Document root is this is where the code should be present by default. So this is where the code should be present. Then Apache will automatically read it. Got it right? So what happens is when you install Apache, this will automatically come where HTML directory is automatically create, and Apache looks, let's say Apache scans this directory every time. If there is something code, it will show it for us, when we access it. If there is nothing, it won't show anything. So this is a default path where Apache looks for the code. Default path, again, remember, we can change this also. But this is the default path. Got it? This is the default path where we can change. I mean, where the code expects. Here is the main configuration file where we can configure anything for Apache. Let's say you want to change the port numbers, change here. You can have to change here. You want to change this default code path, you can change it here. You can here, sorry. That's all. Same in, let's say, Red Hat /etc /httpd. This is the directory. Now /etc/httpd conf.d/httpd.conf. This is the main config file. Port numbers are same, 80, 443. That won't change. And this also same. This won't change. This is the default path where code exists or Apache expects. We can change it. That's called, we call document root. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll we'll change the code to something else. Maybe let me just Google something. I don't know HTML. This is some sample it seems. Let's copy it. Come on. So now let me log in. Where is the default code path? Where WHTML, right? Where WHTML. I have my code index. Let's remove this. Paste this up. Sorry, I didn't got the code. Let me copy this. You'll find it so many examples of code. Don't worry. Just copying a sample code. Save it. Refresh. See, this is what this example paragraph. Anything in the body will tag me. Whatever. Where this coming from? This is in the index.html file which I just copied in my code. See, example paragraph. Anything. Body will tag. Blah blah blah. Something. See, so you can keep anything here and it'll read it. But why only index.html? Why? Because it's a default file. So what, let's say developers, any developer will do is they'll first write index.html file, and from there they'll continue everything. The default static website. I mean the UI, whatever you're seeing. UI means user interface. That's what this is. That's what this is. That's what this is. User interface. So it's a default file. That's why it's automatically reads it. Let's get another file. Let's see. Let's remove this file. Let's create v8 test file. Let's see whether it works or not. See, it's not opening. It's just opening the file. If you click on the file, then it will open. But this is not what. It's not correct. It's just showing the file in the path. Why? Because I told you right. This is a default file. I just renamed it. Let's see. Still, even though I renamed it HTML, it's still not accessing. I mean, it's still not opening. Why? Because it's expecting index.html. because it's the default file for any code. I mean, whatever they write. See, it came. That's how it is. Got it right? So far, is it okay?
Okay.
So any doubts so far?
None.
All right, let's move. So now we can host our own website. Let's say developer written the code and he gave it to you. Hey, deploy this. What you do now? As per your knowledge until now, what you have? You just come, install this Apache, go to where WHTML, paste that code. I mean, copy that code, not paste. So it works. Here there is a catch actually, little bit. What is this Apache or the Nginx? What I told the another one at the beginning. These useful for these useful for static web, static websites only. What are static websites? This is a static website because it won't change. It won't change automatically. Anything which does not change automatic, this does not update automatically is static. Let's say this AWS, this is whatever the UI is static. This here also, whatever the UI is static. And the function, if you click on something, let's say this, I clicked on this one, whatever, I don't know what is this. Let's say you're getting the result, right? This is the page. This is the UI page. And now data, you're getting some data here. This is from backend. So we have two things, front end and backend. Front end and backend. Front end also called as UI or GUI, graphical user interface or user interface. Backend is where the functionality is. Let's say you open something. Okay, the page open. Let's say let's understand. Let's go to understandable page. YouTube. It opened. So whatever you're seeing, this logo, this thing, see this animation, this name, blah blah something. All these are from loading from. These are front end, loading from front end. But if you click on something, let's say this one. It's a fake one, but let's click on one.
Whatever.
How this video is coming. This is coming from the backend. This playing from the backend because see, if I click on YouTube logo, it's going to page, right? This page is front end. I mean, front end means how the logo should look like, how this on the side panels look like, how where your application should see, what are thumbnails and everything. But when you click on something, it opens. When it opens, means it's backend. So let's say you went to Gmail and you see something, right? Sign in or create an account. Correct? Am I correct? So you click on sign in, you click on your username or password. Until that, it is backend UI only. When you click on username and password and click on sign in, how it validates the username password is correct or not? How it validates is. So the backend takes the input whatever you gave and it will validate and give the response back. If that is correct, it will allow you to log in. If it is not, it will say login failed, username or password is incorrect. So you'll understand more about it when when you go deeper. That's okay, don't worry. So we don't do anything about these things. What is backend, what we do for the backend? No, we just deploy them, track them, monitor them. That's it. Okay. Don't worry about all those things. It's nothing really. And I know it's at the beginning, it will be a little confusing. What is it? Once you understand, once you start working on it, so it's very, very easy. Don't worry. There are developers for front end and back end. They'll write the code. And you might have heard of something called full stack developer. It means the guy who can handle front end code, back end code, and the database also. So this we call it full stack developer. Means he know everything. He know front end, back end. He know front and back. Simple. Nowadays companies expects more, with the less salary. So that's how it usually works. So yeah, that's it. So I don't want to confuse you. I just want to tell you this what is front end and back end. Why? Because Apache, this website, whatever, sorry, this web server, whatever we are seeing, only handles front end code. Front end means static code. Why we call it static? Because it won't change. It won't change it dynamically, right? Until we change it. Backend code will change. I mean, like because backend code have logics, so it will change based on the logic. But in front end, it won't change. It's a static code. It's a static content. This front end you may see HTML files, CSS files, JS files, so many will be there. Whatever I remember so far, these are the things. So this front end code won't change. These are static. Got it? So the Apache handles only front end code. Does it not handle back end code? It can. It depends. Like it cannot support everything. It can support one or two backend codes. In backend also, Python, Java, this Ruby, Node.js, all these languages comes under backend. They are not front end, they are backend. So Apache can handle Python code. It can deploy backend Python code. It can deploy Python backend Ruby code. Okay, that's okay. That's how to deploy Python and all. That's a different case. Let's forget about it. For now, we'll see the front end thing. So this is how usually, I mean, like we deploy the application. You got it right? Where WHTML, where is it? The configuration file we'll see, don't worry. Now there is something called here virtual hosting. Virtual hosting. Let me write it. Virtual hosting. What does it mean? Let's say you have a server and you have an application. You ran it. It's fine. It's cool. All good. Let's say scenario that we have only one server, but you want to run two applications. That is also fine because you run one application 80 port and you run another application 81 port or 82, I mean, whichever is available. That is also fine. But the scenario is I have one server, one IP address, same port. Will it work? In another scenario, I have one server, one domain name, let's say google.com to my server, and two applications. Will two applications can use same host name, same domain name? It can. That's where we come virtual hosting. Mostly no one uses this. I mean, like what the scenario I told, right? One server they'll deploy multiple applications, but in a different port numbers. But in a single port number or using a same domain for multiple applications, they don't use it. Got it? But we can try it. No problem. There are two things in virtual hosting. Port based hosting. It means so using a same port for application. Sorry, and another is what is another thing? Domain name based hosting. Name based virtual hosting. That's the thing. So we'll see this today. This is very simple, don't worry. Tomorrow we'll see about SSL, about certificates, those things. But today we'll see virtual hosting. It's very simple. So where to do this virtual hosting? What to do means, I mean, how to do, what is this virtual hosting? Don't worry. What is the main configuration file? This is right. Virtual host means there is a section of the code. You'll see it, you'll understand it. All you have to use that to your website, that's it. So let's start that. Let's say maybe we'll start with the port based hosting. First, we'll see the default configuration, and based on that, we can simply copy it. We can change to our scenario. Got it? Got it, right? What I'm saying. So port based means we can use single port, but it is not possible if you remember, as I told you, right? If a service is using a port number, you cannot use for other service. So what you do? You use another port. Let's try that first. Port is it gone again? Okay, let's 1 minute. Come on. Yeah, I logged in. So let's go to the configuration directory, main configuration, Apache. See, there are so many things. If you remember, this is the main configuration file. Let's open it. There are so many things. Forget about all these things. I'll tell you what are important here. There will be something called a listen. Yeah, timeout is important, obviously. Where is this listen? These are all default ones. You don't need to do anything. Oh, listen, not phone. Oh, yeah, here. That's okay. Usually, this listen will is where we are allowing the port number. So that's why, see, listen 80 means Apache server is listening to 80 port number. If you want to change, let's say 81, simple, change it. Change it and save it. Now try here, it won't work. It's loading from cache. Let me try again. Still loading. Sorry, the static website. It will load. But yeah, we'll try. No problem. We change it to 81, right? Let's try with 81. Will it work? It won't. Even though we allowed it, because we have to restart the service. We haven't restarted the service. Let's try now. As I told you, uh, if you want to, if you made a configuration change and you want to reflect the configuration, you have to restart the service. Let's see now. Let's see. It's restarted. Let's see. See, 81 worked. That's what we changed, right? Let's see with 80. It is also working. It won't shouldn't work. It's taking from cache. Let's see. It's not working with 80 port now. Correct. You can able to see, right? If you want to change the port number, you can simply change the listen line and it will reflect. But in the latest version of Apache, the listen line is in something called ports.com. Ports.com. Let me write it here. This is fine. Here, sorry. This should be here. Here it's same. Here it will be in this file only. Don't worry. Let's say this is confusing, right? Why I told that Apache 2 is main configuration. Everything should be present here, but why ports? Simply do one thing. Remove this file. That's it. It's gone. Now we can modify the Apache 2. That's okay. That will modify. Let's open again. You can write listen anywhere. Maybe at the top I'll write. Why to write to the bottom? It's not, wait, sorry, spelling. So now this is the default. It works. Now what I have to do? Restart. It should fail. Let's see. Sorry. Ah, system spelling again. It's failed. Some it I know it will fail, but in Apache or HTTPD in in CentOS, we have a command where we can check the syntax where why it's failed. Simply you can try Apache 2ctl-t. It will show you the syntax. I mean where it failed. See syntax error on line 151 of apache.conf could not open the configuration file ports.conf no specified directory. See this Apache 2 conf are expecting ports.conf but we deleted it, right? But there is a line it seems in this line 151 which is expecting in the main configuration file. So you can simply comment it or remove it. Simply open colon 151. See, this is one. Blah blah. Remove it. That's it. Now syntax okay. So this command will be useful, you know, to check the syntax. Let's say you made a configuration change. You did some configuration changes for Apache only, not for other things. So you want to check it whether it is correct or not. You can use this command. In Red Hat, how to use it? httpd-t. Why it's both are Apache only? Why it's a difference means the package names are different. As I told you earlier, right? Here Ubuntu, the package name is Apache 2. So Apache 2 City, that's why it is like that. In Red Hat, what is that? HTTPD package name. That's why HTTPD -t. It will show you the syntax. Now the syntax is correct, right? Am I correct? Let's try again. Now we can restart Apache. Restart it. See. Now let's refresh 80. It should work. See. 81. It won't work. Why? Because we removed the 81. It won't. See. That's it. Now let's say I want to host another website. Sorry. Now that's the topic, right? Where is it? Virtual hosting. Port-based hosting means I want to deploy multiple applications with different ports in the same server. I have only one server, but I have two applications. I want to deploy in a different port numbers. How to do that? Let's see. Let's say I'll go to first var whtml. I'll delete this. I'll create a folder. My website one, website two. I'll go to website one. I'll create a file. This is website one page. Now I'll go to website two. I'll create another file. This is website 2 page. Okay. So now I have two websites. Correct. Now I have to run these two with Apache. So now if you have only one website, What you can do, simply you can keep your code in where WHTML path. Simply keep in this path. It'll work, right? That's what we just tried. But now I have two. What to do for two now? That's where the virtual uh, hosting comes. These are the one of the scenario. Why? Because if we have want to host multiple websites in a single machine at the time, virtual hosting comes. But there are two types in virtual hosting. One is port based and the name based. Forget about name based for now. Let's see the port based. Port based is you can host two websites using different port numbers in a same server. Let's try. But how to host it? Let's try that. So you can simply enable this file, edit this file. But what is the sample code? Let's see the sample code, how it looks like. Oh, this is too big. Okay, let's copy this. Let's copy this. This is the default code. It will be in a present in sites enabled. This mods enabled. What are all these? That I'll tell you tomorrow. But for now, site there is a folder called sites enabled. There is a default file. Remove that. I mean, if it's not mandatory, but I don't want it. So I open this file. I'll go to last. Or first, let me open Notepad. It's too big. Well, come on, I didn't copy it. Shit. Yeah, it is there. Don't worry about why this is big. So much big is there, blah blah something. Because if you see, all are commented. You can simply remove them. It's not really required. Why the commented lines are required? So now only 5 lines, maybe 6 lines. See, only 5 lines. See, as simple. This is simple one. I can show you another thing. These are also not required. Only 3 lines. This is the virtual config example. Virtual host. That's what we call it. That's what I also told, I guess, right? Virtual hosting. So you're writing a section, then you start with virtual host. What is this star colon 80? 80 is a port number, obviously. Star means here we can give the IP address. So with this IP address and with this port number, we can access this website. But we gave star because the IP might change. When you restart tomorrow, IP will change. I don't want to change it again. That's why I gave star. So and document root, where your code is. Where is my code currently? I think where WHTML website 1, I guess. Website 1, correct? This is my code. Let's change here. Website 1. This is my one application. Now I want to do it same thing for another application. Now change the port number to 81, 82. That's it. See, as simple as that. I just change the port number and the code path where it is. Now simply copy this, open Apache conf, go to end. I think we are already at the end. Simply paste. See, that's it. See, that's the virtual hosting. Come on, escape. Ah, yeah. So we have written two virtual hosting. One for application one, website one, another for website two. So now here what's happening is we want them to run a different port numbers, right? That's why I gave port number 80, port number 81. And this is where my code is. I mean the application code. That's it. That's it. So you open a section virtual host, with a port number, you write something, the code. You have to close it with slash virtual host. See, slash virtual host. That's how everything ends. Now save it. Now I written something, right? I want to check the syntax because otherwise I don't know whether it is correct or wrong. Syntax okay. Now what did I do? Restart. restart. Now access it. If I use with 80 port, website 1 should open. See, this is website 1 page. Of course, spelling is wrong here, and of course, when you click, even though when you give 80, it won't show because I told you right, they are default. So browser will automatically take it, hide it. Now 81. Let's see what. Yes, this is correct. It is not working. Why? So whatever it is correct. Let's open it again. See, you have two websites. You gave one 80 for one website, 81 for another website. This is absolutely correct. But why still it is not working? 80 open, okay, but why didn't 81? Any idea? Why? Because
Maybe we,
eight, yeah, say, tell me.
maybe we need to give the folder name, I think.
No, we gave the folder name. If you see website name, okay.
They in while accessing in browser
Let's try. Where to give?
after IP address slash
After
website
slash website two, correct?
colon
Oh, sorry,
81
colon
colon
81.
81.
See, no.
Okay.
Then what I have to do? You have to allow this 81 port number in Apache config. See what I did, if you remember, listen 80 is there. So it means it allows, Apache allows only port 80, but we need 81 also, right? So what you do, we'll write another line, listen 81, that's it. We allow this port number also. Even though you wrote the configuration, without listen, Apache won't allow that port number. So you have to allow it. Then you can simply save it, check the syntax, correct, restart. Now let's try with 81. See, work, simple. Got it? Is it clear?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this is how we deploy. Even even I used to deploy the same, but now not anymore. Same thing. Let's say you don't want 81. You want to change it. Maybe 8,000. Okay. What you do, listen, you have to change to 8,000. Now where is your config? Slash 12. Yeah, 81, right? I don't want 81. I want to 80. 8,000, sorry. 8,000. Save it. Check the syntax. Correct. Now restart. Absolutely correct. Now 81 shouldn't work. See? Why? Because we disabled it. 8,000 we enabled. See, it's working 8,000. That's what. Is it clear? This is called port-based virtual hosting. Now there is another thing, as I told you, name-based virtual hosting. What is that? What is that means? We use different domain names within the same server. Like let's say we are using different ports right here. Let me open this. We are using different ports, correct? This is port-based hosting. Name-based means we have same port. There is something called server name. This will be changed. The server name means same port all, same port. Sorry, but different domain name. Different domain name. That's why we call it name-based virtual hosting. But obviously, so we cannot test it. But this is how generally it will be looking. Let's say I have a server and I want to host two websites with the same domain name. I mean, different domain name, same IP address. I'll write like this. But in real time, no one uses this. Why? Because Google.com is there, let's say, Facebook is there. That completely two different applications, right? Let's say I have website Google.com. I there is a server, so I attach it to the server, and I run Google and Facebook both, and I'm using this name-based virtual hosting. One is Google, one is Facebook. It won't work because for one server, one domain only. Because there is IP address for server, we create a domain name pointing to that IP address. Correct? So we can't point to. When we can point, it won't work. So that's called a name-based virtual hosting. IP address is same, but domain name is different. Got it? Is it clear?
Yes, son.
So still topic is not finished, but time is already crossed. So tomorrow we'll continue this. But I'm pretty sure if you don't practice by tomorrow, you'll forget this. I'm very clear about that. So do practice, do practice. So I'll send this. Don't worry, I'll send in the chat. Maybe it's easy. Where is this chat? Yep. So today what we have seen how to deploy, install Apache obviously. What are some configuration files for Apache and some port numbers. I think you know those. And default document route. It means default path where code is Apache is expecting, obviously correct. And to check the syntax also, and we deployed the code. You can see the code, and we have seen virtual hosting also, port-based hostings. Name-based we can't see, so we can ignore it. But port-based we can see running multiple applications in a different port numbers in the same server that you have seen. Tomorrow we'll see SSL, HTTPS, whether it is possible or not. It is possible, we can do it. So, okay, tomorrow we'll see that. And what are these things that we'll see? Okay, so yeah, that's it for today. To practice, we'll meet again tomorrow. And I think Linux classes mostly will be done by this week. Yeah, mostly. So Apache is there and Nginx is there. Apache tomorrow by Tuesday it will complete. Nginx maybe 2 days, Wednesday, Thursday. And there is one small topic. Friday it will be finished or Saturday. So next week we'll start DevOps or AWS. I'll decide. I'll say. All right. Okay. Bye all. We'll meet you tomorrow.